The day has come, ladies and gentlemen, for the final round of 16 group for the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Winter Americas Edition. That's right, I'm Nathanius, joined by Zombie Grub. We are finally not wearing shirts of the same color. How are you doing today?
Were we doing that every other day?
It was pretty close.
Well, you
actually.
You and Fear Dragon.
People started pointing it out. Well, you and I both had the maroon shirts the one time, and it was just bad. You know, we're trying to do a little bit more variety. I am currently looking for a holographic Charizard shirt that I lost along the way. But this is StarCraft time, and that means it's time for me to tell you about the rules, because that's just what my job is. So we had a bunch of players. They qualified. We had a round of 32 groups. We went through all of those forever and a half ago. And then this week, we've been working on our round of 16. The players advancing out of these groups made their way into the top 8 that will be playing out after Intel Extreme Masters Katowice towards the end of March, early April. And yeah, 4 round of 16 groups. This is Group D for Determination. That's what I'm going to go with. Yeah.
Yeah.
As, it's our American group, and a bunch of great matchups coming up. We got representation from every race, so whatever matchup you like to see, it is possible here. And the players are competing for a lot of money, Zombie Grub. $60,000. Yeah, that's right, Zombie Grub. That's a lot of money these players are playing for. $12,000 to first place.
Golly gee. It's a lot of money.
If you had to spend $12,000 as fast as possible without doing something boring, what would you do?
Buy 4 tickets to Korea.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are you going to do there?
Live there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Buying 4 tickets for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently. So that I can leave.
I mean, I was gonna say you could just get a round trip ticket and a down payment on I don't know how much it would cost. I'm sorry. I've never lived in Korea. We do have our first match pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna tell them that we're ready. It's gonna be Silky versus Time. Terran versus Zerg. That's our first series. As you can see, then we've got Kalizer and Estrella. And then, of course, we don't know who's going to be playing in any of the other matches because we have to find out who wins and loses first.
That's how this works.
That's right. Wow. I love GSL group styles. Yeah. Favorite player in this group, Simon Grub, and why?
Kalizer. He is a fun player to watch. He's Terran, and recently he has been showing some really good stuff. So he is my favorite player. My favorite to get out of the group first, though, is Time, actually.
Okay. The 2 Terran players. All right.
Yeah, that Terran bias shining through.
Yeah, Time is playing from far away. He is rocking the 300 ping clan tag. So we were talking about this in the green room while we were getting ready during our break. Wolfing down some French toast, and we were saying, well, maybe Silky could upset some cheeky aggression. Take advantage of the latency, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I know you guys said that Road Ravage are all in, but if I were to take advantage of the ping issue, I would wait for a big ball Ling Bailing Hydra and just.
That's true as well. You just play crazy defensively and be like, come at me, bruh.
Yeah. They can make the first move on 300 ping.
You know, that's very true.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe one of the worst losses I ever had playing on the OS server from NA. I had a guy who just never attacked me and just sat there with Mass Baneling on creep. I'm like, what do I do? I've only got Marines. Right.
Nate, do you want to cast StarCraft today? Do you?
I was thinking about it.
Or do you want to banter?
But
because I think we might be bantering.
I think it's TalkCraft, you know.
It's TalkCraft.
As the wizards in the chat know, whenever the casters are talking for a long time, it's because we want more attention and because we get paid by the word. So we have been doing our best to undermine the system to keep ourselves on camera as much as possible.
Yeah. I'm
just trying to get good real material, if I'm being sincere with you. But the game has started again. So I think, hopefully, it's a smooth ride from here on out. It's the final day. It's the final group.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have to get up at 4 in the morning for a month. I'm excited. This has been fun. This has been really, really fun. But I'm also looking forward to the reprieve where I get to watch other people talk about StarCraft instead of myself for a little bit.
That is always the best, watching other people.
The worst part about casting WCS is I can't be in my room posting in chat, eating cereal like I normally would be.
That is the worst part. In the top left, as the blue Terran, hailing from China. It is time. It's on Team Newbie, not Team 300 ping.
Yeah. Well, 300 ping is what is what the newbie players use on Americas, though. Scarlet's in that clan as well.
I bet so. Yeah.
We've
All right.
lost one.
Get out of there.
Okay. Well,
See ya.
somebody decided that they would rather, instead of casting this game, go watch us. Makes a lot of sense, honestly. But Terran versus Zerg on this map. I like it. I have started to see a little bit more of those cheeky Nidus builds. I'm interested to see if this guy breaks him out. We will give our player a proper introduction. In the Northeast, he's red. He's Silky. Silky smooth.
Yeah, smooth. Smooth introduction right there. I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
afraid at all that you forgot to do it. I knew you had
You
it.
think I'd ever forget to introduce players? I mean, goodness. When they take you to the StarCraft Caster Brainwashing Academy, the first thing they do is you gotta give the most epic introduction every single map. Especially the maps after the first one.
Yeah, especially. And you got to say, give it up for, and then
Yep.
there's no one actually watching.
Fun fact, In Control is actually made to wear one of those like electric collar type things that sometimes dogs use for training.
Oh,
on his
sure.
leg, in case he forgets to introduce the players.
Oh, okay.
Because he tried to resist once, and that was, oh, that didn't go over very well.
Ooh, boy, I want to say something so bad, but
I want to see Nidus.
oh yeah, do you?
Yeah, I still haven't seen enough of it versus Terran, so that's why I want to see it.
You didn't the whole like 3-minute Nidus roam in the main base you thermal didn't do it for you?
No, it's not enough.
No? Okay.
No.
Well,
There's something really funny about the Nidus because it's one of the few times in StarCraft where I can definitively say that I disagree with the complainers and that I really like the Nidus. So whenever I get to see it used, everyone talks about it. And
Yeah.
there's like these huge breakdowns about how strong it is. There's like a great meme image some Protoss player posted about it being like playing whack-a-mole. And I'm like, you know what? I actually really like this Nidus. For the first time, it doesn't really upset me. And I get some sort of weird joy, some weird cathartic joy out of watching the discussions around the new Nidus.
yeah. You know, I don't mind the new Nidus. I think it might be a problem that Zerg players themselves will bring up.
That's because ZVZ, right?
Exactly. But I don't mind it. But I know what you're talking about. Like, I was the only one that felt like who liked Muta vs. Muta for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, as a
I'll be
non-Zerg
that
player,
person.
watching Muta vs. Muta was great.
Yeah. So it was a Hellbat attack being set up here. You know, no add-on, just building the Marines. So it's one of the more classic Hellbat attacks. If you saw how many Marines there were and you saw the medevac, you could piece the 2 and 2 together without even seeing the armory.
I feel like if you see that medevac opening, it's got to be like the biggest tell. Because
Yeah.
there's really not a lot of medevac builds that don't have... Because it's either Hellion drop or it's Hellbats, really, when there's an early medevac.
Yeah, he knows. I mean, he is trying to get Lings. He's also preparing for the follow-up Banshees, and he's correct. It is going to be follow-up Banshees. But can he deal with this effectively? The Banelings get perfect connections to the Hellbats, and that should be good enough. We don't have too many Queens. There they come now, all together, 5 at a time. Every single Queen's here, but they're a little late. Come on, ladies. There we go. Let's target fire the medevac, ideally.
Needs to get rid of... Here comes the Banes. That's always an awkward spot. A couple of those Banelings get stuck behind the Queens a bit. Good spread from time, but obviously that many Lings and Banes. This wasn't a really committed attack out of time. I mean, he doesn't have... Like, his third command center is just starting, but that's just not an attack that you can really have big expectations of. He also didn't rally the Hellions across the map. He's just been keeping them at home.
Yeah, I'm feeling the mech.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No
Close
tech
Banshee, extra gas. Ooh.
Makes sense.
Double factory.
He is legitimately on the worst ping. Like, whether that's really 300 or not is dependent, I suppose.
You should play, yeah. I don't play bio if you've got 300 ping.
Yeah, but so my worry is that he's going to try like Cyclone Mech, which I actually think requires not exactly the same splitting or micro as bio, but it does require being on the field a
Very
lot.
similar.
Which,
Timing attack mech can work, but
yeah,
we still haven't really seen where Silky wants to go with this layer, by the way. I mean, if it was bio, maybe he's like, I'm just going to get roach speed, but Hellions come over to this third base. Zerglings trying to get a cheeky surround, but he focus fired the Baneling. Really nice. And Silky's drone line is exposed.
There's not that many Lings left over. The Queens are all out of position. There's barely any on the front line spreading that creep in time. He's not actually being reserved here. A lot of other Terran players would have left, considering, you know, oh, the Lings are on the way. The Queens are on the way.
So much pressure, and all Silky can think of is time is on my side of the map.
8 drones go down. Hellions now turn into Hellbats. Realize they took out the Banelings. Silky is reacting to seeing so many Hellions. He knows it's Mech. He's trying to get to Roaches, so he stopped building Banelings entirely. And he should, you know, that is his choice, I guess. But then he doesn't have anything to defend against the Hellbats. So.
That's a great thing to point out, though, because you're totally right. He's going for the Roach Warren, and he's going to get Roach speed and all that, but you're kind of changing the direction. So you're not thinking about building a lot of Zerglings when there's Hellbats, but you kind of need to deal with the Hellbats because you need Banelings. But it's Infestation Pit now with a Hydralisk Den. Killing this base would be really big. Don't think he's going to be able to do that.
That would
Maybe the Banshee goes down there can help, but...
I guess, yeah, if both Banshees came down here, that would
okay, well, the Queen and the Overseer is already here, so once the creep connects, it's done.
I was going to bring up the creep, actually, as just a point here. Silky not really going to get too far out. There hasn't been a lot of focus on denying creep, right? It's been about the drone line being burnt, but the Queens have been forced to react, and they're not really doing a lot in terms of creep spread. This has only recently gotten connected. The reason I'm really honing in on that... Hold on, what happened?
Banshee speed. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't contain myself.
The reason I want to hone in on Zerg creep, though, is because the style is going to be the Cyclone mech, a couple of tanks maybe for defense. That creep spread helps you become, you know, aware of where they're attacking, because you will lose sight eventually. Your Lings can't stand the Xel'Nagas against the Hellions, after all. And you do need to have that speed boost to try and wrap around all these units, which he just doesn't have a lot of creep spread at all around his 4th base.
That's a really big deal, because it's one of the things that can help you try to get the jump on those Cyclones. Cyclones move a decent bit faster than even Speed Roaches off creep, but on creep, that's where the Speed Roaches really shine and can actually defend against this. You need to really emphasize the creep spread, because I'll tell you what, playing Cyclone Hellion is really fun. You know, you trade out a couple Hellions, and when you're playing mech, as long as you're not out of Hellions and being overrun by Zerglings, Hellions are completely expendable. You don't mind throwing them away, you're dishing them out, you're throwing them all over the place like batarangs. But as long as you keep your Cyclones alive and you're building up your powerful tech units, you are super happy. But here we go. The Hive is almost done. And despite that, he hasn't really been able to do too much damage with this initial Cyclone Hellion pressure.
So I see something very concerning. I think it is a straight-up mistake. Silky has not added evolution chambers at all.
He has no
upgrades whatsoever.
Oof.
I think that is a mistake. I think you at least get 1, if not always 2.
At least get attack upgrades for the Hydras and Queens and Roaches.
Exactly. And he will realize that soon enough, but he will be so far behind a mech player who wasn't even that, like, really that speedy 2 double armory. This is, like, totally reasonable what Time did. It's just that Silky didn't go for any at all. So he is just hoping that the Vipers really shine here. And eventually he's got to realize.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, because Silky has a bunch of bases. He has good tech. But he is denying himself potential in a long game by making all of his units a little bit less effective than they otherwise would be at this point in the game.
Yeah, there's times where I see these Hydras up to 3-3 actually with some Zerg players against this style.
You know, with these upgrades, it takes 1 less hit for the Hellions to kill the Hydras. You see how fast those things die?
Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting. He's going to lose the Cyclones here, but this is actually an amazing good trade for Time, because he really lost a few Cyclones and then just traded Hellions for Hydras.
Oh my lord.
Oh boy.
Okay, Speedy Banshee's coming. There's a Spore Crawler to provide detection, but then you just, yeah, there you go, wrap around a little bit. Kill the things that shoot up anyways,
We're
and then
family. We ride together, we die together. These Banshees pick off the southeast base. Now they're going to make 6 sequels about those Banshees zooming around. Thors are coming out too. Planetary on the 4th. What's going on in the main base? Is that just an Overlord that's been scouting? Yes, it's an Overseer.
Yeah,
okay. So nothing weird. Yeah, this looks really good for Time.
It does. He also didn't stay on Cyclone Hellion, which might be a little bit of a shock to Silky as he moves in here. There's going to be a lot of tanks. There are those Thors. And he finally did realize he has no upgrades, by the way. So that's not only just like a, oh, I messed up. It's a sinking feeling in your stomach knowing that there's nothing you can do to make up for that time.
Yeah, 0-0 versus +2, +1. And there goes a couple of the Abducts to pull this army inside. This is definitely where that Zerg force can still have the advantage, of course, using the utility of the Vipers. That siege tank on the high ground will eventually be overwhelmed, gets another tank on the low ground, but this one is still really exposed. I feel like you gotta try to get that Thor out of there and repair it. Silky may have been able to make up for his mistakes. The Banshees are going to come back, but are there too many Hydralisks? I don't think so. Banshees should be able to clean the rest of this up, but Time has lost all of his valuable, expensive units, and that is definitely not good.
Yeah, I mean, Silky, he might have lost that 4th base, but he had another 4th base. He still had 75 drones. He can replace much faster, and he's going to be happy with trading that out. It just is, again, one of those things where he'll be at 1-1 when Time's at 3-2, and as long as Time doesn't die in the next minute and a half, 2 minutes, then I think he will have a very good feeling in this game. 4 bases, direct push.
He's still totally fine. Like, Silky's not maxed, and Silky doesn't have a bank. So we're looking at 2 players that have traded blows. I think, like, if Silky makes that push and he's 2-2, I think he probably obliterates the army and maybe even wins the game with that many units. But no upgrades is it's a big deal. It affects a lot of the way that these matchups work, especially when it comes down to units that, like, usually leave you with a little bit of health left, like the Banshees or the Hellions. Swarm Host coming out too, trying to get a little bit more cost effectiveness into the army for Silky.
Banshees definitely want to live, but a couple of them are going to be abducted. More than a couple.
Did you know, Zombie Grub, that if you shift Q a Viper to abduct 2 units that are equidistant from it, it will stretch out, it will cast the ability instantly. The Viper will have 2 tongues.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Just so you guys know, there's a second tongue in there somewhere. That it only comes out if you use the ability twice in the same frame.
Interesting stuff. So there is no Spire, which is something that Time can't be sure of, but he did scan the Hive once again, scouting with the Banshees too.
Oh, he's going into battle cruisers.
Yeah,
the madman.
I was surprised to see him go to battle cruisers with that knowledge in hand, but that is a super late game choice.
I actually love it. I do like seeing it. I don't know that it'll work, but this is the first time we're seeing someone actually try it like this.
Yeah.
In a broadcasted match. So kudos to you, my dude. Those BCs are strong. I mean, they're really hard to kill, right? And because the Zerg player's not on 3-3 already, the BCs might be able to do some damage.
Yeah. The thing is, like, okay, so he doesn't aspire to get easy peasy corruptors, okay, yeah, but then I also wouldn't have expected such a strong reaction to this production tab. Looks like an anti-Broodlord production tab. It's Thors and battle cruisers right now, and most importantly, the Thors.
I actually still like it against Swarmhost, though. These units are all good
against
Swarmhost. Siege tanks. The more siege tanks that you have, the better Swarmhosts become. So
yes,
I'm not going to complain. A couple tanks is good, but I do like the Thor transition. Thor's actually dumpster Hydralisks in head-to-head fights if you have like a good number fighting.
And good upgrades.
They always 2-shot Hydras.
Yeah.
Unless you have none, maybe, but.
Which is still, like, even with the upgrades being severely late, that's still not the case. 2-2 is actually almost done here. Silky jumps on top of the 5th base, is maybe going to be able to grab that.
Is he not going to dive on the command center? That's pretty big. See, a situation like this, the battle cruisers could just teleport straight into the main base is what I would do once you know that this attack is defended.
That did not look that pretty at the end of it. Silky lost the majority of his army despite getting a good parasitic bomb. He didn't actually kill the Vikings, so they can be repaired up. His Swarmos do find those tanks, but they unsiege and just ran away. Nicely done there. Time is not going to save his base.
It didn't die. There's a guy flying that command center right now. He's like, no, don't forget about me.
He realized that he didn't lose it.
Realized it.
That's funny. He didn't have to spend more minerals.
Matthew McConaughey made it back from the other side of the universe.
So Time is going to apparently just get like maxed air army. He's also including a Raven here. He's actually going into some Cyclones, which I guess could chase down the help chase down the Swarm Hosts. The Swarm Hosts don't feel like they're going to be very useful, as they might be able to snag this command center if it doesn't lift, cancel and lift.
Swarm Hosts really just thrive when there's a bunch of anti-ground stuff like that isn't very mobile. Cancel and lift. There we go.
Yeah, they can't even get the command center. So
could load those SCVs inside as well. My brain's just going back to that conversation earlier.
Silky is on 5 bases with some decent crew spread at this point in time. He's getting a Nidus worm.
Nidus network.
There you go. You got your wish granted.
Greater Spire's coming in.
Yeah, but I just wonder how eager he is to go into a Greater Spire with seeing the Thors and the battle cruisers as a corruptors to help with the Vipers of Doc to kill them. But
so one of the things then I'll offer this as someone who plays this kind of style of mech. Sometimes you'll see the Zerg player pump out a ton of corruptors, like go big corruptor, like a lot, and then just kill all the BCs, all the air, maybe caustic spray if they can, the stuff on the ground, like the starports, and then just make like 12 Broodlords and try to finish off everything with those. Still hard to do against Thors. Thors are really good against Broodlords, especially if they have any supporting units with them.
Yeah. Well, it's not often this mech army push looks like this.
Yeah. I love this. This is such a cool army. Really, Neural Parasite or something is like what makes it hard to make this work. But the BCs are there. They have the Vikings to support them, and then you've got all these tanks. And it's going to be really hard to like effectively deal with the siege tanks because of this. And the siege tanks are really what's going to keep the Hydras from being able to engage.
Yeah, it seems like it could work out perfectly. If the tanks are ever somehow out of the fight and they are lagging behind here, then maybe that's where Silky can find an opportunity. He runs in, Blinding Clouds and Parasitic Bombs come down. Everything down at once, but an anti-air missile too, and it's clear that Silky's army just does not compare.
Look at this guy. He's so cool. He doesn't teleport his BC home. He teleports it 5 feet to the left with 10 health.
That did not look pretty. I don't know how Silky went into that fight.
Send those BCs home.
Yeah, he should. He should repair those. But Silky went into that fight probably thinking that would look at least, somewhat more comparable, and it didn't. He does remax. He's going to be able to try again.
It's a great army composition from time. This is really good. I really like this a lot.
I think even disregarding the actual potency, the strength of the army, it's just probably a surprising army for Silky to see. He's like, this isn't the late game composition I expected.
I would say that he's probably never played against this before, especially since he plays NA. So I don't even do this. I'm one of the only guys that build BCs.
This fight is going better than the last one. Battlecruiser's getting very, very low. Hydras actually jump on top of the tanks.
There we go.
The Vikings are going to have to actually evacuate here, maybe a couple last snags. There we go. But that was better, but it did cost Silky's entire bank.
Yep, and guess what? Terran Boy still has 5 BCs. He's got 2 more that are just now finishing. It's up to 7 battlecruisers. Losing the Thors is scary. But especially with the support of a planetary, diving on BCs is very difficult to do. He's even going to get a couple Ravens out. Really important to mix in with the BCs for the Dorito cannon. Battlecruisers benefit more from that than anything else in this game.
He lost the original, right? So it's not going to be around for a potential upcoming fight, but he didn't use the Nidus Rune Reinforce. He's using them to transport around as swarm hosts, which I love this idea. This is exactly what Blizzard wanted when they were trying to do, well, they tried to do a lot of things in Nidus Worm, but they wanted it to be used so it could actually reinforce, harass, actually be used more than just an all-in.
The burning Nidus Worm death animation is so cool.
It is cool. And Silky is trying to use it as they maybe wanted. It's actually
well, it's a distracting mechanic, right? It's like swarm hosts hit from the bottom, the rest of the army goes up top and tries to snipe a base. But the weird thing about this is the BCs force so many Hydras. The Hydra's army is just squishy, right? It takes 2 or 3 hits, 3 hits with Splash from a planetary. It's even hard to just try and dive on those with Hydras, because they'll still kill a lot. With Mass Repair, you need a Blinding Cloud to stall it out. There we go, Pathogen Glands. You're gonna need to go Infestors to deal with BCs.
Yeah, well, I think that was why we brought up the surprising composition, right? Is that now that Silky has had time to breathe, he actually pushed this back, at least temporarily. He can try and think of alternative solutions, and the solution he chooses is the Infestor. Now, he's still far away from actually getting to Neural Parasite. Does he just start the energy upgrade first? Oh, no, he cancels it. He's actually in such a hurry.
Yep.
Wow, yeah.
So, interesting thing here, and it's going to be, I'm curious to see what he does. You can neural the BCs and teleport them into a field of static defense. He's got 5 spores on the way. Where is he building it? Yeah, okay, he's just doing the southeast. So you can try to do that and use the tactical jump to cause the BCs to go somewhere that you're guaranteed to be able to kill them. You can try to grab some of the power units like the Thors, but there's really not that many of them. But battlecruisers are actually really bad at killing themselves. And they're bad at killing all the other units in this army because it's mostly air.
I'm also curious as to what he's going to Neural Parasite. It might be one of those things where he just grabs whatever he can. In the heat of the moment. The pressure is starting to cook here. His creep threat's being denied. He's being pushed back into his own natural. He's trying to get the static defense set up. He wants to take a very convincing fight and then be able to counterattack immediately.
He might also, if he took the fight right now, he wouldn't. There's no Neural Parasite yet, so the Infestors. Infested Terran is actually really sick. If he could get some Infesteds on this, I would actually really like to see that. Those will deal with the battlecruisers better than anything else. I think I did the math. It's 4 full energy Infestors can kill 6 battlecruisers with just Infested Terrans, if they were to stay and fight, of course. It's really good. Good Dorito cannon on the
Corruptors kind of boys him back. These two Cyclones come down here, and they're going to snipe it. Micro. He gets it.
Noise.
And is also still encroaching on all the Spore Crawlers. So Silky loses all of his tag defense, which could have certainly helped out, but he was trying to buy time for the no parasite. Here he goes now, grabs a Thor.
Assimilation successful.
I don't think he's actually focusing anything on it, though.
No, he's attacking the battle cruiser. And one Thor does not kill that BC very fast. The fungal parasite bomb combo is good. Hydras are here. I would have liked to see him just throw infesteds behind it. BC should be able to teleport out if they want to, but oh my god, with that Dorito cannon, they're actually going to start to kill stuff.
Yeah.
Teleport the weak ones!
Well, some of them have already been teleported.
He's like, Nate, I'm going to win the game, okay?
Yeah, he doesn't
Stop
care.
backseat WCSing me.
Yeah, if Silky had a huge bank and remaxes immediately, then maybe he can take down some of these leftover expensive but low health units. But he doesn't have a bank. He, got his base denied.
He just spent every last dollar.
Yeah.
He went to the candy shop, saw some Hydras, like, well, won't be able to pay my rent, but I've got Hydras out. I don't know that they're going to be able to do too much. The left side of this map is looking like, I don't even know. There's a Venn diagram in there. If he walks into the center of where all those sensor towers are, that dead center spot, I think his army just instantly dies. So don't do that. He's in trouble. Time is in a really good spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken him some time to get to a really good spot. But no, seriously, this is, I would dare say this is a time like playing abnormal. I think he does do mech, and he has played some like wonky games, but mostly we do see him with like the stuff we would expect a Korean Terran to do. I feel like this is still somewhat of a result of him just realizing he has to play with very, very high ping, and it's worked out. It's worked out fine. Silky has found a couple of okay battles, but ultimately not getting any convincing ones, and without a huge Zerg economy behind it to just remax over and over again, this is going to be eventually Time's game, it feels, unless Silky just suddenly takes the best fight of his life and kills like 3 command centers.
Yeah, and even that trade, it's like, well, Time managed to kill, or Silky managed to get like some damage in on some of the air units and whatnot, but then you look at the money. Time is a rich boy. He's going to get transformation servos. Like, you know what? I guess he spent all his last pennies on Hydralisks, so I'm just going to build siege tanks again. And honestly, in these situations, just he could take the head-on fight, of course, but you could also just send the BCs into like one of the expansions or like teleport them into the main. What is he going to do? Send the Hydras home so that the army can kill everything else?
Yeah, I think he's also used all his side defense on the front lines that died, so
Yep.
he really wouldn't be able to do very much. And he's still got 6. So the hatchery dies, eggs are canceled, and Time is once again marching towards probably victory this time, as Silky's not even maxed out, doesn't have a very convincing army. Didn't find the secret composition either, even if he was maxed out to take on this here. He's got really weak Spore Crawlers. Yeah, they aren't going to help very much. And this is going to be the last hurrah. Go for it.
Comes in, puts some blinding clouds down, abducts a BC. BC jumps out. He doesn't jump home though. BCs have limited range on their thrusters, it seems.
This isn't even his entire army.
This isn't even his final form.
Battle cruisers. Hey, at least they're killable now that Silky finally got the 3-3. But
G. Time takes game number 1.
yeah, very slow mech style. Silky was able to recover from absolutely 0 upgrades for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, you're playing against. I guess the weird thing is, and this is probably the biggest weakness of mech, is no matter how effective whatever you do is, it is still very hard to close games out when you're playing mech. Like you don't get to like barely win the fight. Like when you're playing Bio and then 8 Marines run in and kill all the workers after you trade armies. It's like 2 tanks don't just run in and kill everything. But Time did a really good job there. Very fun style to see. I have not seen a Terran player do mech like that yet. That's the first time I've seen that particular setup, the way that he went. Going kind of like with the fast Banshee speed, Cyclone Hellion into battle cruisers with tanks and Thors. I really liked it.
I would be interested in hearing his thoughts of whether he really did just anticipate a transition and he was like, well, this is the next step of mech.
Yeah.
Like, what are we expecting to do? Or if he actually thinks that was legitimately just the best thing to do against what Silky was showing him, which was partial swarm hosts, mostly Hydras. Yeah, that's a Take TV saying they accidentally pressed rewind trying to get out of the game.
Ouch. Ouch.
Anyways, but yeah, Silky, he might have a stronger idea of what he's up against because Time, I mean, he did see round of 32 Time, which did have a TvZ, but pretty sure. And Time has played in a lot of tournaments that you can find replays of him, but that probably wasn't what Silky was expecting for game number 1. Now he has a better handle on things. He's not going to forget upgrades this time and have a stronger attack around that mid game. So if it is mech, maybe he can actually bust through. And we'll see. Silky, or NA hope of this group. Well, Estrella actually too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silky and Estrella.
Well, Kelazur is also NA, so I don't know what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's you know what? We can wait for the next match to address this, but Kelazur's totally United States citizen, like, and all that.
Yes, he is. But he is in the Netherlands right now.
Yeah. Wasn't he born in the United States as well? He's like from Florida.
I feel like Fear Dragon probably knows the situation more. He lived in Florida for a very long time, like when he was younger. But I don't know if he was born there. I don't know.
Someone told me he's a Floridian, which explains a lot. But I'm also like, USA totally gets to claim him as one of the players. I'm sorry.
You know, I know what you're trying to say about Florida, but what are you trying to say about Kelazur?
I'm just trying to say he's on my team.
Okay. All right.
Kelazur is NA, as it gets.
When you say that's someone being from Florida, explains a lot. Like.
Oh well.
I mean,
he's also a funny guy, you know.
Okay. All right. On the bottom right, down 1, it is Psystorm Silky.
I'm just saying, you know, people who live in Florida that aren't retired, what are they doing, really? Who knows? We're not sure. Let's find out. In the top left, we have the blue Terran player leading the series 1-0. He is Time.
I think they're wrestling alligators.
Perhaps they are.
Ooh. Gotta pull first. I don't know how likely it is for Time to show any super aggressive early tactics, 2, 3, 4 racks, with the whole ping being kind of an issue here, but...
This is just one of those meme builds where you send out a couple Zerglings to the side and try to cancel the natural or delay it and be annoying. If Time doesn't SCV scout, he could get caught off guard by this.
Which he probably won't, which is probably what Silky's depending on. He didn't see one last game, and it is rarer to see an SCV scout than it is to not. Yeah. So he's going to get away with it. We'll see if he commits.
It's going to change soon, Zombie Grub, by the way. I'm just pointing it out, the SCV scout thing, because everybody always talks about how nothing is ever smart until the best guy does it. Maru has started SCV scouting. It's going to become a thing now.
Well, I think, okay, so that's a very good point. Like, Maru does it, everyone else does it, but there was that period of time where Roach Ravager all-ins of, you know, the many varieties there were so popular that I thought SCV scouting would become the norm.
I SCV scout every TvZ, and if you see the Roach Warren on one base, you just build a bunker, dog. You're good.
There was an SCV scout, but he's very tricky.
Yeah, this is a smart thing to do. I like to see it. You know that it's a late hatch, so you're going to keep your Reaper at home, or you're going to be ready for whatever's coming.
Ah, see, he might try and catch the 2 lings he saw with the Reaper and then not expect to have to scout for 4 extra ones. So Silky able to adapt here. It would have been the worst thing if he only made 2 lings and they were found out. Probably not.
Send the Reaper home. Go all the way. I know you want to keep a drone from getting to the 3rd.
But
one Marine's going to have a difficult time.
Yeah, it's going to buy some time. Oh, wow, he's actually going for a bunker.
Well, those take 3 years to build, so you're going to need something else Time.
It's going to be 2 SCVs killed now. It's
Building
something...
the bunker actually was him, like, losing more because he tried to get defense. I'd like to point that out.
It is. He's going to be able to save his Marine and probably not lose any more SCVs. But that was something where it could have really been nothing because Silky was scouted.
Pew, pew, pew.
So I like it. Silky trying to adapt here.
Those Zerglings. Taking a trip to Value Town, Zombie Grub. He gets this SCV.
Around Rosie. Okay.
My blood pressure is rising. Okay, so command center's done. Hellions starting to come out. Starport's on the way. Zergling speed's almost ready, and there's a 3rd base coming in for the Zerg. The mech worked well last game, so I'm going to expect to see an armory at some point after the Starport's done or around the time it finishes. Probably do another... I mean, I'm not really a fan of the Hellbat push he did the last game. I feel like if you're going to do it, I like seeing the more committed stuff. But, like, this whole 4 Marines and a bunch of Hellbats, I don't know who it like, beats. I liked, if you're going to do, like, a weak Hellbat attack, I like doing the faster one, you know? Where you, like, get the armory really quickly, and then you just go transform 6 Hellbats and be like, you don't have a Baneling Nest.
Well, I feel like what happened in that first game that made it look kind of like meh was that the Queens weren't actually in position to be attacked, where the worst case scenario that I see with this is that the Queens go to deal with the Hellbats. They're like, oh, we can take care of this. And then the medevac like drops around / on them. and then they just get toasted by the multiple things shooting at them. But in that last game, it wasn't even around.
All right,
so.
it's totally different this time. The whole thing's completely different this time. It's a Hellion drop.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he's just spreading out his Marines, so it's not like he's going to start with this and then lead up to Hellbats later on with Marines. So it is still going to be mech as he goes for a second armory. Or is that his first one? Yeah, that's his first one. As he goes for his first armory and goes into cloak. No tech lab on that barracks.
Oh, tried to get the Evo chamber block and whiffed. There's not really a lot of lings. I think he. Okay, I can understand being cautious. There's a world where he gets all those drones before Hellions, and I'm like, yes. But then maybe there's a world where he doesn't get them, and I'm like, no.
I'm like, no, yeah. Silky's getting defensive roaches. He was very aware of the follow-up Banshee last game, despite not actually scouting it. So I think he'd know better than to try and send roaches across the map, hoping that Time was being a silly boy and not getting Banshees. He definitely is. The supply blocked though. Oops. Here come the Hellbats a little bit later. Not in very high numbers. Queens will take care of them.
Oh, okay. He's gonna try to fight the Queens here. I like when I've seen some Terran players who transform 2 and then let the other 2 chase the drones. So the Queens can't really do nothing because there's Hellbats. But if he kills these Queens with the Hellbats, I'll forgive him. I don't think he's gonna, but
he is nuts.
I'm just being overly critical because I finally get to cast some Terran games and Time's playing really well, so he shouldn't feel bad.
Well, he finally agrees with you. Oh, but then he misfires. Never mind.
Well, that happened.
Yeah, the first shot going on the Queen wasn't too great. Behind this Time getting a third CC, as you said, going into mech, so we'll see some additional factories. Soon enough, I don't know what he plans to do with the barracks. I think he's just going to lift it later.
Maybe you want to fill a bunker.
Wait.
There's definitely a reason to do that occasionally, but.
Oh, you know how I said that he was prepared for the... was that just the natural that was unprepared for the Banshee? Well, 8 drones went down. 6 to this Banshee.
Nice.
That was a pretty good one. That's a pretty good Banshee.
So the worker count is 53 drones to 45 SCVs. Not too shabby. The late third command center always kind of gets you sweating a little bit, though. So let's see what else he can get done. There's the hatchery on the top side of the map that I believe Time has now spotted.
I'm more interested in these drones. Being roasted. Nothing there in the natural. Also, all the lings, I guess, have been killed. So there's 6 of them, so they couldn't react very fast. The roaches don't have their speed.
This harass has been beautiful. Oh my good. Forces to cancel. Nice.
Very nice. Did he lose the...
Now drone's still there. He immediately rebuilds it. So
well, I was wondering if he lost a Banshee. He did, but he has another one.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, and he's still building them, too. So he might go into the... in fact, I'm going to guess he's going to go into speed again with them.
That's what he did the last game. It was a little bit... kind of caught us off guard, too, I feel like, because he had that upgrade going. But Banshee speed... it's one of the longest researching upgrades in StarCraft 2. So it's like you kind of order it. It's like one of those packages you order from out of the country, and then you just kind of like one day it just shows up. You're like, oh, I forgot I even bought this thing.
Yeah, that happens all the time. It is scouted. If you see a tech lab spinning this late after you already know they have cloak, then you could probably figure that one out. He was also checking to see what type of mech it was. Not that he really got any glimpse of it. I guess that was his first confirmation it was mech, but he knew beforehand. He knew so many Hellions. So he's going into the Hydrostand Invitation, but he's getting his upgrades so much faster than last game that he will probably have 1-1 with whatever push he decides to do, if not 2-2. And that, as you said last game, that could have been the breaking point, was having any upgrades whatsoever when he took on those tanks.
Especially just because Hydras attack so fast. They are affected a lot by those upgrades.
Fourth command center already done. Time did an excellent job of providing pressure, but then also getting just a ton of expansion. So he was either on par with Silky, or even at the end of the game, I think he was ahead, right? So with literal bases taken on location. So he was rather good, and Silky really couldn't get any severe damage done. I wonder if he's going to go into swarm hosts again. They didn't seem to do what he wanted.
I don't think they're very good versus this style of mech.
I don't think so either.
Swarm hosts are like an ancient relic from a different time, because back in the day, Terrans would just build tanks and Hellions and then go into Vikings. And Swarm hosts were pretty much a free win against that style because it was that bad. But now we live in a world where Cyclones exist, Speed Banshees exist, and Hellions have the ability to transform really fast. And I don't really see the value in Swarm hosts against a mech player who isn't being like insanely passive, and even then it's still, in my opinion, quite dicey.
Yeah, I agree with you, but then, you know, Lambo tried it. That didn't work, but then GSL, it happened too, and that did work. So I'm like, ah, okay, maybe
It
that
really
isn't
does depend on the numbers to a big degree.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're truly watching the styles still develop, which
Yeah.
is, you know, it's not...
Terran versus Zerg metagame is still changing
Yeah.
every week.
So when, you know, I saw Cyclones first, I actually thought they were just laughable, like no one was winning with them. But now they're getting the wins.
You don't make your army composition the Cyclones. You kind of use it to give yourself the equivalent of like that medevac harass, or at least that move out potential to some degree. And I think the Banshees eventually will be a core component of a lot of these mech styles too.
This game feels so much stronger for Silky. He's going into 6 bases. He's got his upgrades. He's on his way to his Vipers. He's been controlling the map a lot more, so his creep spread is actually quite good. Already on Time's 4th base. He dealt with the Banshees, whereas last game they got a hatchery kill and just more drones down. And this is feeling a lot better, as Time is going to be, I think, a lot more nervous into transitioning into what he did last game.
Yeah, he cannot afford
got away with it.
He can't afford to go into BCs like that yet, no.
Yeah,
Interesting 4th base, though. I actually haven't seen someone move out to make this one their 4th in TvZ yet. Usually you take that one all the way on the left side.
I kind of, you know, the gist of it is probably the same as.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. I get it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Banshees will be excellent at defending roach run bys. They at least got that much going for them.
That's why I love the speed Banshees. These are also like your anti-Nidus task force as well. You don't have to worry about that if the Banshees go over there. You have 6 Banshees, they should be able to deal with that.
I really feel like Silky is just coming to this game a lot stronger. Like, he did take harassment in this game, and that sucks, but it just feels like because he kind of figured out what Time was planning, he was already so much better set up to deal with it, and now he's the one that can kind of control the game. If he makes a false move, if he takes a bad fight, that could change, but as we see here, he's grabbing all the Cyclones, not many big, beefy units left over.
There's really not that many Hydras. I wish he had Blue Flame earlier. When you start getting abducted there, I think you can actually take that fight and lower the depots. But letting him kind of like pick off each individual unit, he doesn't really have anything that can fight against it, is very scary.
And if the army was maxed out at that point, that wasn't a lot. That wasn't a ton.
Hydralisks can be very squishy. But if you had Blue Flame there, I think you dive on that. That was really just like 15 or so Hydras.
The Vipers ended up living, which is great. You don't have to replace those expensive units. Silky's not banking yet.
Now they're going to go eat their lunchbox evolution chamber.
Yeah. We're getting a more threatening greater Spire transition than last game for sure. As the Spire starts, Time's just adding some Vikings to first deal with the Vipers, but then maybe be his answer to Broodlords too, at least initially. If he sees them, which he might not, Banshee is probably just going to be left behind. You're dead, sorry, eventually.
If only the Banshee could die seeing the Spire. That would be quite a useful way to go out for Time. Getting the left side base now. This one's really important. He's getting transformation servos. That's good too. All the factory upgrades are good. I don't even mind drilling claws, just in case. There's some weird scenarios where mines can get useful later on if you feel like Hellions are just not cutting it at all.
One thing that Silky didn't really do last game is get a lot of stack defense, spine crawler wise that is, and that did cause some more damage taken from the Hellions, and maybe it should have, but that had to do with him not ever being able to accrue a big bank, which should be different this game. Again, he's controlling it so much better that I don't think we're going to see the desperation attacks and defenses that he had. And there is the Greater Spire started, still not scouted. The Banshee died, I guess. Something, Spore Crawler here.
Yeah, and Silky's he's doing the best thing that you can do, really, at this point, now that he has all that money and these upgrades. Hydra Viper, just abduct units left and right, and use the incredible economy that he has to just keep replacing those units. And Time's got some good stuff going for himself too here, but we're also not seeing repairs, so every fight that he takes, his army is just getting weaker and weaker. And he doesn't have a good answer to the Vipers like we saw in the last game.
Yeah, his Viking count's not bad. It's just you want to get to that one-shot capacity, and even then it's not guaranteed that they're going to take a valuable trade. So setting up missile turrets again, that's a great move. Just slapping on his base again. He does not have those plentiful extra command centers that he had.
Is there a roach run by on the top side, I think? Just getting cleaned up in the third base. Yeah, a few came in. Got a handful of SCVs.
Yeah, I think Silky has been... Oh, has he been replacing his roaches? He has, yeah, okay. That's fine. Something to buffer against the Hydras. They will die to the tanks pretty fast, but they'll save the Hydras from the silly blue flame scenarios.
Yep. That's really important.
3-3 is almost done here for Silky.
He freed up the supply, got rid of the Marines, almost killed a Hydra with that. That would have been the sickest trade. Your useless, unupgraded bio units actually killing something would be great in that situation.
Nice tank grab. This one's also going to die. 2 sensor towers. It's probably meant to be a missile turret.
Double sensor tower. What does it mean, Zombie Grub?
The fight's actually going down. We have harassment on Silky's bases, but this fight might be the most important one, as if he loses control of his 3rd base, it would be quite a blow to his economy. But it's turning on Silky. The blinding clouds run out. Tanks on the high ground really demolishing his army, but he's taking down the 3rd command center with him.
That. Great call there. Going for the command center, backing everything else off. Some 20 drones have been killed behind this. Great counterattack harass. Silky is going to have to rebuild those. You know what? Okay, he does have a good enough. I thought he was low on his larva count, but he's still got a lot coming out. He had so many hydras building. I was like, if he can't actually get that round of drones out immediately, his bank is going to be hurting quite a while.
He saw the corruptors with a hellbat if he was paying attention.
Yeah.
But he also saw the greater spire, so he knew there was a timer. And generally, like when you have this fight and you know there's greater spires, you're going to think they're going to replace all the supply with broodlords, and time would be right.
The hydras are still the biggest problem. This actually makes me nervous about the Hellions, because that bank is starting to become gas heavy for time. The Hydralisks are going to be the most scary part of this army. It's not the broodlords. 6 Thors versus 6 broodlords, easy win for Terran. 9 Vikings, even easier. But with Vipers and those Hydras, if he's able to abduct those Thors into the Hydras, then this game starts to spiral out of control, and I'm really nervous about that because he's about to get attacked, about to be preoccupied for a little bit here. Let's see if the Vikings can get something done, as here comes the broodlings.
Yeah, there's only 3 Vipers, and maybe they could have sniped 1, but instead they get their parasitic bombs, they get their blinding clouds. They don't get abducts, though, on the Thors. The Hydras are reaching them anyways, since the tanks aren't firing. Finally released.
Thor's letting loose on those broodlords. Like I said, the broodlord's not going to be the problem here. I might even just land the Vikings. Really, those Hydras are getting a lot of work done here. There's still Thor alive, though. Still a couple of siege tanks. Going to blast away those Hydralisks. And the Hellbats are back again.
Couldn't chance these through that. Gets the hatchery snipe, and Silky, he just replenished his army. He does not have a bank. It's not going to be easy to replace that. Even though he has the 78 drones, that was at least a favor, I guess. That's
really good hold.
That's good for time. Plus, yeah, the hold really wasn't that bad.
And I say that largely due to there being no bank for Silky, which is, of course, also Time's fault. He did a great job harassing. I don't know why I say the word fault like it's a bad thing, but yeah, he's done a really good job at hamstringing the economy of Silky just enough so that trading a big full mech army, he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm not worried about being attacked again. He just got to get this creep off of his porch.
Yeah, it's actually right up there. The queens are mostly dead, I think. So once he 6 for all the bases he has, yeah. So once he takes care of it, it should be take that one queen. No, it should be gone for good. But man, is it really encroached? He can't build a wall again at his 3rd base.
I'd like to see a Raven, just a cheeky Raven.
Well, he got one last game. You would think to.
He got +1 ship weapons as well, so he's still thinking about his air units.
Okay.
And if he ever gets the money, then I would, of course, love to see him try to go BCs, but he can't afford it. So he's going to go Liberators instead. Also a good move. We have Swarm Hosts as the transition. This is terrifying because the Locust will benefit from the creep a lot being here and engaging these armies if he doesn't get rid of enough of it. And Time just needs to be cautious with his Hellions. If he has all his Hellions on the map or he loses them, then the Locust will kill all these tanks very easily. He needs to be extremely on point, very aware of the state of this game.
Which, unfortunately, I don't think he is. He doesn't know about the Swarm Hosts.
Well, everything is home, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, some Hellions just left.
Well, the perfect timing, right? The Hellions are going to retreat on the left side, but then go on with the right side. So there's not many Hellions to defend. He's
got to make sure those tanks are shooting at the Hydras. And Silky's going to push in with everything all at once. Parasitic bombs onto the Vikings. And the entire clump taking catastrophic damage right now.
Wow. I mean, the easier option, especially if you have smart servos, is to just land them, but he just let them take the full damage, thinking that his Hellions could do something. They're going to find a hatchery, yeah, but Silky, he's on 5 bases, 76 drones.
At least he's repairing, doing better than Special there. But
yeah, sure.
The Swarm Hosts did exactly what they needed to do. And in my opinion, for Swarm Hosts to work versus Terran, it's all about the first wave of them being, like, catching the Terran off guard to some degree. The fact that Time didn't know that it was coming, now he's going to be playing whack-a-mole, except the mole is never actually attacking you, and then the mole is actually just sending these little dudes out that kill you that replenish forever.
Never had the extra bank to go into building armor, or when he did, he didn't think of it. But
Nope.
that was a dead command center.
And you don't, you don't want planetaries versus that anyway.
Yeah.
It's better to just lift the orbital and let the SCVs die, because they're all going to die trying to repair anyway.
Going back in the Banshees for harassment or finding the swarm hosts, you know, they're being too cheeky, too aggressive, and yeah, that can work out. But he is in a tight spots. Silky has been controlling this game with his creep through, with his movement for basically from the beginning. But now he's really getting to dig into the true kills, the ones that actually really start to matter as time's running low on minerals in the first three bases. Yep. Now every time there's an attack that goes favorably for Silky, it'll go really favorably for him, especially if Time can never get a new base.
Yep, Time absolutely has to get this next expansion, and I'm very concerned for him. I think this is the moment where Silky may be able to close it out, because he's got his army postured here, and he's just going to attack into this a little bit. He has enough money to replace the army. So what happens is then the Locusts hit the other base. Siege tanks all kill themselves now, and the Locusts help. And there you go. Your tank backbone gets broken.
That was a good trade. Locust for tanks is obviously always a good trade, but at least he holds here.
Oh, Banshees!
Whew, okay. He is going for more than just a few Banshees. If they do find the swarm hosts at numbers of 6 or probably 6,
actually forgot he had all those upgrades for the Banshees. Yeah, and he has +2 ship weapons. If those Banshees could just find him, no. Okay, well, doesn't.
That's why I'm wondering if he means to do this to harass and just like because the Liberators aren't working out, the Hellions aren't working out, because all the creep spread, or if he did mean to find the swarm hosts, and I guess it's to
just static
harass.
defense. There's too much static defense here for the Zerg player. It's really hard to find any purchase with these Banshees.
Yeah, I think the Hail Mary just trying to find an army without an Overseer would have been the best call. 2 more Banshees did just finish up. Unless he canceled them. No, he's up to 4. And 4 Banshees could start wailing away.
Gotta hunt down the swarm host. This right
there
here.
We go.
Oh, there we go. So this is exactly what we were talking about. And even with the Overseers here, there's a bit of zoning work that can be done. That tank got a good shot off on the Hydralisks. But even that is just like, that's a couple less Locusts that you're gonna have to deal with. And he secured this top base. This is exactly what Time needed.
It's going to be difficult to defend this base, for instance, but he does have a very well-situated, just like a couple tanks, maybe a couple more missile turrets would be helpful too.
Also tried to attack that center planetary and got smacked back. Not bad there. That planetary has 32 kills. Banshee sniped the top right base. All right, all right, all right.
Things are starting to look a little, up. Silky with that one. The first time he moved over to Swarm Host was fantastic. He was in such a great position, and he's still not in a bad one, but it wasn't the snowball maybe we were fearful of. Time seems to be responding very, very well. Just run away.
Oh, only takes one well-placed wave of Locusts to knock out a lot of this mech army, though. Still needs to be careful.
No spine crawlers.
No spine in this base. That's big.
Yeah, it was a problem I talked about last time. And while some Zerg players out there are like, oh, they don't help anyways. Like you get 7,000 mineral bank. You can get like 6 spine crawlers each base.
They don't cost supply, and you can put them everywhere.
Yeah, three spine crawlers would have helped each of these locations. Well, this one's not done, so I guess that's pretty
spine crawlers are awesome.
They are certainly useful. And Silky did get to that comfortable time of 7,000 minerals, 6,000 now, with a ton of gas, like that he could make sure he's investing into his future, investing into these hatcheries actually being alive and well.
Okay, so there's this little skirmish that happens over there, and then in the top right, there's the wave of Locusts. 1 tank down, 2 tank down, and Planetary's gonna take a lot of damage, but hold on. And there's a little bit of a fight here in the middle. File's gonna land on some of these mech units, but a couple of these Ravagers and Hydras caught on the left side, so those guys are all dead. Both players looking at nice banks, but Silky, he's a rich boy right now.
Yeah, he is. Time's starting to do well. He's not having to replace too many units, and he is on this fresh new base looking for, I guess, another one over here. It's going to be very odd, though. Like, Time's the one that's got to really set his base, and then usually you push from that base, but now his new base is over here, but he's pushing towards the left side. Silky, maybe a little surprised by that, is now maneuvering to defend his base.
Might be thinking about diving on this army. It's going to be a bit scary. He's got all the swarm hosts over here, so not trying to pick off that top base. All right, now he's going to pull back. Okay, doesn't feel comfortable going after this. Swarm hosts, and this is one of the reasons why I talk about them not being particularly great once the army composition's rounded out against them. Take a lot of supply. Could be a lot more Hydras or Vipers or what have you here. And that's one of the reasons why Silky has so much money, because if he loses these Swarm hosts at any point, he's going to spend a lot of it to replace that supply. Oh, is he gonna catch this command center for free?
Nah. He actually might have to pull back here. Yeah, he's gonna go for it. It's time with the Locust Wave, so he turns into a bit of a trap. Isn't really gonna work. Blinding Clouds are pretty devastating.
And that parasitic bomb. Oof, ouch, owie.
Oh, the command center, why? No, you don't have to die. Trust me. Okay, so he does end up holding on to his command center. He's gonna take out a hatchery here. Oh, the Banshee's gonna lose cloak.
Banshees knew about the swarm house over there. Okay, yeah, not able to pick up that top right base.
He's still adding on more Banshees. Like
He should never stop building them. As long as there's swarm house on the map. He can't afford battle cruisers, right? I guess he could try to switch into him now. He has a little bit of bank, but he would spend all of his bank doing it, which is understandably scary.
Yeah, that's a very, very expensive text transition. I think he's just hoping that Silky will over-dedicate to this base again, as long as he can get this base. I mean, actually, Time should be kind of happy with how things have gone, considering his original
he should have been
situation.
Dead a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He made some big mistakes.
Well, this base is going to go down, and it was still a useful base. That does suck. That's a good grab for Silky. Liberators never really got up that high number. He did decide the Banshees were better, so this one just providing some type of defense. But I'm surprised that we still haven't seen building armor. Time has had a bit of a bank for a while. That does seem something that'd be useful.
I agree.
Please.
I would like to see building armor, especially against the Locust.
Spine crawlers.
How fast they attack. 7 spines, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where getting damage done to the other opponent is just so difficult. The creep spread's going to see everything coming anyways, and with Spore Claws against Banshees, they shouldn't get the hatchery. The only thing that really like circumvent that would be like range liberators, which Time is not going to go into.
No. Gotta try to repair this planetary. The Banshees are here fighting alongside it, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Zombie Grub. I really would like to see building armor. He's still got that left base, so it's like Time is doing just enough right that I have a really hard time like seeing him. Like, when is he gonna die? Because Silky still has an insane bank, and Time is playing whack-a-mole with these bases, but he has not been able to deal with the swarm host properly.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I say, we said Time might be in an okay position, he loses the very important base to the top side. Oh, the Blinding Clouds on every part of the army. I guess that means no parasitic bomb for the Vikings. They take out all the Vipers, but the ground army of Time gets demolished. That supply just drops so badly.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be it.
He clears out a lot with the tanks, though. And
okay.
Silky actually can't finish the army off because most of his army supply is swarm hosts that are on cooldown.
Yeah, that is a temporary relief for Time as he runs back to the planetary mama, but that's
why this game is so hard to end, because it's kind of like it has to be a Locust Wave that like breaks him basically.
Time is running out of options. His Hellion attack's no longer going to work by any time. He doesn't have a huge bank to replace 70 supply. And Silky finding himself a lot more comfortable in this game now that he figured out what Time's general game plan is going to be. This should be the last stand for our Terran.
Yeah, this should be it. Files are going to drop down. Planetary's dead, and Time is broke. All of his bases are mined out. He's retaken that middle base, but even that it's a half base now.
Yeah, well, I guess he has no problems with gas right now, but not a lot of mineral mining. Silky now even getting this middle base, which often forgotten about. Honestly.
Time is mining 1,000 minerals a minute and no gas. Silky's mining 2,000 minerals a minute and 500 gas.
Oh my god. The army size.
StarCraft.
That's what happens when those Blinding Clouds do that. Effective Locusts. It's a beautiful sight for Zerg players.
It's like the Locusts don't even kill anything. It just gets the tanks to kill themselves. There's the Abduct. Pulls everything else in. Silky's like, all right, it's time for game 3. Time for game 3.
Well, Time's not ready to give up, man. He's long distance mining as Silky takes a very aggressive hatchery. It's one of the only hatcheries he can take left, I guess, because this one's a little dangerous.
Well, these are hate hatcheries right now. like this is over. I'm gonna take every base now.
I wonder if this looks like it's really over from Silky though, because we see everything, we see the supply, but if we watch Silky's vision, he's gonna dip in, see like things firing at him, and be like, oh, okay, maybe not. But he should figure by these is just the map ownership is like 80% to Silky. He should know that he is winning. Yep. And that it's just a matter of time.
This is where it ends. Here's the next wave of Locust. Bada bing, bada boom. Blinding Clouds, another Abduct. There we go, GG.
All right. Mech proving how hard it can be to kill.
A classic case of which will break first, your spirit or your barter, as executed by Silky there. And really, I'm going to go back. I'm going to stick to my guns. It's all about knowing about that first Locust Wave.
First Locust Wave just kind of dove in, killed a bunch of stuff, and then he spent the rest of the game just chasing after swarm hosts all around the map. That was rough. That was really difficult. It was a tough situation to be in. I don't know. Maybe if he'd been able to get the battle cruiser transition at some point.
Maybe.
It's a lot sturdier, and you can erase the swarm host with the Yamato.
Yeah, but the first game and the second game really were so different just based off of who got the momentum first, who got the map first.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
And it's like it's something that sounds simple, but that was the reason he couldn't comfortably go into battle cruisers. He never really got a comfortable bank. His harassment did less and less as time went on.
I think he tried to get the fusion core at the end there. It may have been for Liberators, though, because we're seeing it for advanced ballistics.
Yeah, which, as I pointed out, would have been the only way to harass, but that would have been too late. That was a very tough game to watch, and unfortunately, if time does feel restricted to that style, now that Silky's proven once he gets a handle on it, he can defeat it. His third game might not be looking so hot for our Chinese Terran.
Yeah. I got a message from our admin. He says, "I'm from Florida. You guys are bullies."
Oh, well, Dares actually is a guy you would explain being from Florida, so that's fine.
There you go.
Hi, Dares.
We've all got our quirks. It's okay. It's okay. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I dream of having a big yard with a golden retriever and a pickup truck and tailgating sports games. That's my end game. When all this is done and I've made my millions off investing my caster dollars, you better believe I'm painting my entire body green when I drive up to East Rutherford every Sunday.
What are you
believe it.
What are you investing in to get all this money?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, my dream for being from Virginia is to actually move to a city that is safe, which doesn't seem to exist in America, to be honest.
That's tough. Yeah. What you mean is you want to find a nice suburb to move to.
I want to be able to walk to a convenience store. Why can't everywhere be like Seoul,
Gotta
Korea?
go to one of those places that has like a plaza nearby or whatever, you know?
Actually, I've like, there's a couple of really nice places
see,
around me.
I saw a few nice ones like that in Kansas City, like a bunch of like really nice suburban neighborhoods, and there's like, here's just a block that instead of being houses or a park is just a giant mall. And like every single store in the town is there.
Yeah, that's what I gotta find, man.
That was only like a 15-minute walk. That was nice.
Well, we're gonna game number 3 on New Repugnancy. In the top right, as the red Zerg, it is Silky.
And his opponent in the bottom left position, spawning as the red Terran player, he is Time!
See, Time got Terran music. Why did Silky get Protoss music?
I don't know. It's on random.
Is it? Well, maybe it should make sense.
Have you seen that movie? I don't know if you have. I don't know if that reference was...
Random? Wait, what did you say?
It's on random with a British accent.
No, I guess I haven't. I'm sorry. What was it?
Simon
What's the
Pegg? Simon Pegg? Nick Frost?
I don't even know who Nick Frost is.
No, Edgar Wright?
Sounds familiar. Don't know.
It's the first one.
Shaun of the Dead?
Yes, there you go.
Oh, really? I was right about
Yes.
that? Oh, okay. I didn't know the other actors' names. You know what? We have something really important going down here. This is a gas pool first. Like, not just the pool first. Last time, Silky was SEV scouted, but the SEV scout, notably, right, that's what happened last game, is that it just stops and checks for the hatchery, and then it says, okay, I guess that's good enough. So that's where Silky, even if he's afraid of being SEV scouted, he's going to have, well, the same thing he did last game, where he's probably just going to be able to hide something in the main base and eventually utilize his lings for an actual attack. But Time, you know, not going for the SCV on the map unless I'm missing it, and also might not this game follow up with the Marine either.
What if it's the crazy night is built? Never mind, it's sweet. Never mind. My hopes are dashed. Why do I ever suggest anything? God, the caster curse is so real. It's not fair.
You know what I love about being a caster is like saying something when I could just wait 2 seconds.
Time probably won't even build a battlecruiser this game.
Probably not. We probably won't have
not.
either Nidus Worms or battlecruisers.
It won't be Nidus or battlecruisers this game.
And Nate will just be like, why am I even here? And then he'll leave.
Yeah, that's exactly what will happen.
That's fine. I can solo cast. That's
well, I mean, all I know is that at the end of tonight, there's tacos involved, so I will survive.
Oh, yes, please.
I will survive.
I was so close to ordering tacos yesterday for Uber Eats.
But then you remembered that we're getting tacos today.
Yeah, and I actually like Mexican food that much, so I didn't want to
Okay,
get rid of
well.
my pain.
The place I know is good, so.
Good. Okay, that was a lot of talk about food again.
Can you
It's all
guys?
about the food.
Can you guys tell? Anyway,
So
Command Center does not get really slowed down at all, so that's good. This
Yes,
seems like he was worried about getting cheesed. Like he went for the fast speed and pool, but didn't really do anything with it.
it's so weird though, because I would usually say only the pool would be more of like a, okay, maybe I could get cheese. Where the pool gas, I would say almost always is you intend to do something with it. But
Yes.
but if
I
you
agree,
are
by the
being
way.
scouted, if you really don't think it's gonna work, then you can just pull back and not do anything.
Yeah,
Guess.
it's interesting. This Reaper's just kind of poking around. Not really much to find since that third hatchery's already on the way. Queen's gonna come up here. Go away, Mr. Reaper.
You know, we don't really have a lot of different accents in the Terran army. I mean,
No,
I get
we
the
don't.
idea that they're all supposed to be like
I
Southern.
vote for the Hercules to be brought into the game because it has the best one.
Wait, what is the Hercules?
The Hercules has that Scottish accent. Someone
remember
from
this.
the United Kingdom will now yell at me for getting it wrong, but yeah, he's like like the don't get your knickers in a bunch.
You know what? I don't really play with that very much. Even when I do
It's
Swan, so.
it's Swan, or you can get it in the Wings of Liberty campaign.
Oh, I didn't get it. I
Except
didn't get that
Swan's Hercules can use tactical jump. I would love that. Let's get that in multiplayer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even use it because I play Bio or I play Mech, but that would still be sick.
Very important change up here. Silky going for Lair and Bailey Nest. Now that's whatever. But Time going for Stim. He is going to try and play through the ping. This is where I think he really does excel in the first place, and it just is very unfortunate that he feels maybe he won't be able to show the best of his ability. But I think it'll go better than Mech now that Silky's got a handle on it. And hopefully Silky is going to realize, he's actually going to take a moment here and say, okay, my opponent could be going Bio this game. Because he actually might have seen it. He barely saw it.
Yep. That's it's as good of a read as you're gonna find, unless it's like a fake cancel, which is not really common. It does happen occasionally. We've already had it in WCS, I think Americas, but it's not really like a popular thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, I think Special was actually doing that once or twice.
Yes, I believe it was special in one of his games. There's the double engineering bays, the third command center. Time is just getting ready for a nice long macro game with Bio. With 300 ping, which I would have liked to see him try Mech again, but I guess after that last game, he's like, you know what? I actually don't think it's going to work if I try it one more time. Silky's adjusted well. I mean, if you play NA server, you actually will face a lot of Mech Terran players. A lot of the top guys, as far as Terran MMR goes in NA, whatever that qualifies as, do play Mech.
This is going to be a lot of damage. These drones are not well protected. For Hellions,
Really good run by.
getting 12 drones already, a handful of Lings, and a Scouts. They go a little bit deeper in the main base.
This is just great. This is amazing. He's killed so many Zerglings.
Oh, that's
Many
still 3
drones.
Hellions. Uh-oh.
There's still 3 Hellions. You could dive in.
Okay. A little less,
Erased.
a little less potent, down to 1. So that's still denied mining time. As I said, a full Scout in the main base. These were very valuable Hellions, especially because they were almost like, they're like things you have to make, just make sure you don't die to Lings. Like, he actually didn't want a lot of Hellions. He was already transitioning. He only made the 4. They really paid for themselves. Great run by there. Made up for losing the medevac and the Marines, I think, because I was going to note that was a pretty bad loss, but I made up for it. And his macro is not going to be interrupted by any ping issues. Like, he should have at least the macro of usual time, and it seems to be going rather smoothly here. Well-timed armory in the wall up in the 3rd CC.
Using the armory in the wall.
That's bold.
actually, that triggers me. There's something in me subconsciously that's like screaming no very loudly. I won't bring it out because it might deafen you, but well, I'm walling with the armory.
Ooh, whoopsie.
Goodbye, Sin.
Bye forever. Double medevac drop.
Forever. Jeez, it's a little grim. But yeah, double medevac drop.
At 7 minutes, something that Silky is inadvertently going to be in position to... No, actually, he doesn't have any Lings on the
He
way.
loses these queens here. That would be pretty
There we
bad.
go. There we go. So,
Scan.
scan. He is going to have to evacuate. This is certainly enough to deal with it, and he evacuates immediately. You think you play around with queens. You
Feels
should.
so futile sometimes. You're like, I did that whole thing stimmed, almost lost some units for some energy on the queens.
Ooh, nice. I think that... So as good as like getting a huge surround and taking advantage of maybe the lack of micro in a main head-to-head engagement with like Hydras, for instance, can be, I think dealing with mutas in a longer game when you're going bio is actually the most annoying thing. And
Yep.
then on top of that, you had the ping. No, thank you.
It's really weird because, you know, by the way, this push is going to be a little bit interesting to see. He's got 3 siege tanks, and there's not really a whole lot of creep spread behind this. Really, they should have all been sieged already. Siege, 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 siege the tanks. Oh, Lord, siege them up.
Yeah, just because you see some banelings morphing doesn't mean that's
Yeah,
like all the
yeah,
banelings. This is going to be a wraparound. Silky is setting up for a really nice attack. You can bring the queens here. Tanks do try and focus fire on the banelings, but the Marines are still somewhat on creep.
The Marines
so
did it,
many
though.
left over.
He's got 1 tank left and 12 Marines. That's enough to kill everything here without the support of banelings, especially since there's 4 medevacs that have had some energy to deal with, and these lings getting attacked. Siege tank focus fires onto the queens. Pew pew, baby.
Oh man, Silky was like 20 seconds from having his own 1-1 when he started that fight. It's finally done as he lost every single unit.
You can do it. Get the hatch.
He really should finish the hatch.
Go, go, go.
He's getting a 4th CC. He's getting all his macro up behind this. So
who wants to macro?
eventually he will get the 4th base, it would seem, as he is sending another large portion
Could get
to
denied.
the map.
Ooh. Siege tank gets the banelings. Wow, look at that.
Focus. Doesn't
Beautiful.
the second one.
Beautiful control here out of time. Would not guess that he's playing from very far away with lots of latency, but he is making it work regardless. I like this. I like this Marine tank push.
I guess we're not going to be able to see the mutas really in effect here. They're finally coming out, and he did bulk up a lot of minerals and gas to get to them, so he's got like 9 on the way, but that's still not enough to really help you in a main engagement. That's barely enough to start harassment. It's not going to be that snowball effect that I was afraid would happen, where Time just feels so pinned back that he couldn't do anything. This is actually a very strong game for Time after getting that hatchery, after killing so many lings and banelings.
Yeah. Biggest thing I'm going to say is that Time has done a great job of pushing this creep back. He's going to be able to get his 4th. Creep will be nowhere near it, especially if he goes up. He can take the center. The center is fine. These mutas are going to come in, though. No missile turret in the mineral line. And that siege tank actually blocks some of the Marines trying to run over here. So then we've entered this phase of the game where he's going to have to try and get up some turrets while sprinting the Marines all over the place to defend. I'd like to see him get drilling claws, get some mines up, but if he wants to stick with the tech lab factories, a couple Thors will do it too, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, they will certainly help out. They were a surprise, and that's nice to get 6 SCVs, but as I said, I don't think the snowball will happen, and that's what I was most afraid of. If this army was entirely cleaned up, then it could have happened, but it's going to take an okay trade off of creep with the tank siege.
Look at this
last
split!
blast.
What?
Nicely done. That's all the ground army gone for Silky, who's putting the rest of his minerals and gas into mutas. That's not going to help against 30 Marines.
I'm never going to be able to complain about being put on the Australia server again after that.
That's going to heal your complaints.
I mean, he just did that, and I didn't even think that was possible.
That was pretty
Playing
good.
on US from China, you kidding me?
It was also very overconfident of Silky, you know, like that was
amazing.
That was not an overwhelming amount of Ling Baneling to feel comfortable moving off a creep, but just a bit of a misread, thinking that the micro wouldn't go down. It did, and Time is probably going to win the game now.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautifully controlled. In Terran versus Zerg, when you're playing like Marine tank or Marine mine versus Ling Bane Muta, all that matters is the fight ends and you have at least 6 Marines and there's no Banes. GG, Time does it! Winning this series here to kick off our Americas Group D for Death and Destruction. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Time still able to show his
He's really good.
masterful bio usage. I think that's where he's best. Even though
I
he's done
love
mech, it's not uncommon. I liked it better than his mech.
This series was a treat. I mean, we got mech with BCs in the first game. In the second game, we had a really good adaptation to that and much better control overall from Silky. And then game 3 was Time being like, well, the reason why Terran is very good right now versus Zerg is that I can do this entirely different composition, and you have to change the way that you're preparing and scouting and reading everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So Silky got into mech mode after game 1, switches it up into bio in game 3, and Time is going up to the winner's match here as we move through this group, Zombie Grub.
Yeah. You know, I think Silky, he was in a good position until he tried to take the defensive fighter on his 4th, but there just wasn't a lot of creep spread, so one fatal mistake can really cause a lot of snowball effects.
Definitely hurts taking your Banes off creep. Next match coming up. It's going to be Terran versus Protoss. It's Kellizer versus Estrella. We'll be right back. You're watching WCS Americas.